Stereo, February 2025. We'll look at the photos from last month, and we directly start on the left with a picture taken that's digital. That's with a special lens, a Nikon M39 compatible. It's a really old lens that was meant for rangefinders, for Nikon rangefinders, but they were compatible with the Leica 3 type cameras. They were kind of copies, let's say. It's an 85mm f2.0. A really nice rendering, and it's here adapted on a Leica SL2, so a modern full-frame digital camera. And that's Mathias Malio from the famous French group Dionysos, who was doing a small concert, really great concert organized by the Alliance Française in Reykjavik, in the Mengi concert hall. For those who follow my series, we're kind of going and revisiting the same places, but and for those who follow my concert photography, I like to be in the public and use this kind of weird anonymous mask to reinforce what they're looking at and the experience. I really like that portrait, but yeah, that's the only photo I took from this setup for our presentations today. But on the right, that's film, and that's with a Rollei 35AF camera, this new camera that came out a few months back, which I'm doing a 6 months test now. And the video will come out soon, so I'll talk about it more in detail in that video. But that's using an expired film from 2005, an extra 200 ISO film. Not really sure who the manufacturer is, but yeah, testing it. And here it was compensated, by the way. For every 10 years, I divide by 2 the ISO settings if you use the auto settings on the camera, which was the case here. And that's in a place which is named Röntgen, this disco, no flash, and I thought the image was kind of interesting, even if it's blurry. Or here, 2 pictures, same equipment. One on the left was a semi-private party for a birthday at Coffee Bar in Reykjavik. I liked the rendering. And on the right, I've talked about it. I'm trying to look at all those objects that are kind of lost trash around Iceland that sometimes look pretty good. They don't look good, let's be clear, but they can be graphical. And here on the right, the winds were really strong, and this sort of mauve bag was kind of floating, and I liked the graphical aspect of it, so I took the picture. Here again, same equipment, testing night photography with this film. On the left, it was a flash, one of the small gardens in the middle of the town of Reykjavik. Or on the right, even so, it's really cold out. Those slush ice cream slush machines are really popular, and I kind of liked the looks of this one, so I just took a picture. Nothing really phenomenal here, but yeah, that's part also about the experience of photography. Sometimes you try things. And here's this camera. I'm not really used to it. It's got some flaws, I would say. I will talk about it in the video, but sometimes the exposition is not, it's kind of long. It's kind of does weird stuff, or it does multi-exposures without you really knowing it. But that's in the west neighborhoods of Reykjavik, Vesturberg. And yeah, I like the graphical aspect of those 2 pictures. Kind of technically wrong, but worked. And on the right, you can see the beach where the next picture is going to be taken at. Took here. That's a place where I often take pictures if you follow my series. And here I thought was interesting with this film, the rendering, how film has a way of bringing some poetry sometimes to the view. Here on the left, same place again. We're going to see it a little bit more later. And you've already seen it before, so hopefully that's not too boring, but yeah. I like sometimes working on those series, taking pictures, and that was part of last month's for me. And at the end, I'm going to do some editing work. I will probably have some videos about editing, but right now I'm still working on accumulating photos until I feel it's ready. And on the right, that's simply a Christmas lighting that was still there in the west neighborhood, which I liked, this kind of blue. Yeah, I don't know, I liked the looks of it. And here we have photos, that's digital, that's with the Leica M8. It's not a full-frame rangefinder camera, the first from Leica in the M series. And it's a CCD sensor With here, the lens is going to be a Summarit M 50mm f1.5. It's a really vintage lens with a very interesting rendering, in my opinion. Iceland is pretty... Reykjavik, the Reykjavik region, is actually pretty dry, but you have those huge snowfalls once in a while, and then in 2-3 days it sort of dries out sometimes. And comes back again, and here it was just had fallen quite some snow. And I thought it was really nice looking at the Reykjavik Bay with the sun and those mountains far north. Or on the right, people are pretty respectful of those electric scooters. So it works pretty well. It's a super easy way to, an affordable way to go around town fast. And here in wintertime, they have spokes on the tires. They're well managed, and they work pretty well. And that's the center where they take care of them. And the snow had just fallen on those multiple scooters, and I thought the image was nice. Here, same equipment, one of the tugs in the port of the center of Reykjavik. I thought it was funny because this Togo boat sort of brings some warmth from Africa, and covered by snow, and I really liked the looks of it. Going back to film, black and white, that's with Agent Shadow 400, a film I've used many times in the past. By night with the Rollei 35 AF. On the left, that's without flash. On the right, with flash. I thought it's interesting also to document night photography in the snow, create some contrast. On the right, you can see this broken glass on the top right, and you can see there's been a lot of wind. The wind's pretty strong. I don't know, I kind of liked also the looks of this photo. Or when using flash, here we can see also the quality of this lens on this camera, where the snow flakes become suddenly round balls, and the rendering is pretty nice on this camera. Or with film in low light, that's a jazz concert at the Mengi concert hall. I'll put the links down below if you're interested. I think the film limitation gives you something else, artistically speaking. You get more grain, but you get sometimes more feeling, and I think it worked pretty well for this jazz concert. Or here again, night photography, no flash. That's another time the snow hadn't fallen. They're bringing down the fish, the catch from the day. That's fresh fish coming out from those boats, and a really cold night. Everything's kind of frozen. It doesn't look like it like here, but it was really, really cold. Or here, if you followed the previous series, because it's film, it was part of the older part of the film, but you've probably seen in the previous months in digital photography, or even in film photography. That's in Salfoss, a frozen river going down to the sea. Or here, same equipment, that's near Keflavik, same thing. You've probably seen, if you've looked at my series, those photos taken differently. Fresh snow with no marks, and that's an industrial, it's an industrial, not neighborhood, but region near the Keflavik International Airport, southwest of Iceland. And one last photo on the left, that's actually not the first photo of the roll or last photo of the roll. It's just that the flash was... I had something on front of the flash. I was taking a picture through some kind of fence, and actually only a few parts came out. It's actually grass. It's hard to know what's going on, but I kind of liked the resulting photo. And on the right, that's the first photo of the roll, which I kind of liked. That's the same camera, but here I'm using a new film from Flic Film. It's a Flic Film Aurora 800 ISO. Which I think has some interesting characteristics. As we can see here in those two pictures, I'm doing a series on snow mounds, let's call them like this. On the left, that's in Switzerland, and on the right, that's in Iceland. Kind of the same. I like the rendering with this film, actually. I'm looking forward to use more of those rolls and experiment a little bit further. Or here with flash, again, in my series of weird objects in urban environments, this stroller stuck in a snow mound, or this cone, a traffic cone in this small alley with this orange container in the back. I don't know. It's part of my series, so we'll see where that goes. But I had fun taking those pictures, and I think they will work well with those series. And to kind of end this serial, let's go back to digital. That's with a Leica M240 rangefinder camera and the Jupiter 8 50mm f2.0. That's again that beach in Westerberg, the west neighborhood of Reykjavik. I really liked. That was a really windy day. I really liked the ambiance that day, and I think the photo is, with the grain, it adds some character to the overall photo. Even so, the sensor doesn't like too much being overexposed. I'm fully open here at f2. I could have closed, but I wanted that feel. It kind of burns where the sun is, but sometimes burning the sensor information, I think, makes it more intense, and I kind of like that. But here, two last pictures. On the left, that's correctly exposed, same place actually, but with a good exposition. This person coming back from work and going back home. If it's well exposed, the sensor is good. I mean, it's good. It's really nice sensor. You really have something interesting coming out, more traditional. But on the right, same beach, another day where I had a high contrast. Actually, that's where you get all the interesting stuff from the sensor. You will get, for this old sensor, you'll get those cyans, this grain in the low lights if you try to diminish the exposure and have something not too burnt in the highlights. And I think it's part of the character. It's like a film. You really get something different than with a modern camera. And so it's really worth it sometimes to go and use an old machine, old equipment. Works well, lots of character. Anyhow, hopefully that was entertaining. If you have questions, comments, suggestions, again, don't hesitate. And yeah, catch you next time.